Welcome to the realm of intoxicating flavors and head-banging beer reviews.
If you've seen some of my most recent videos, you might notice a little bit of a Finnish theme going on with them. And why not continue that theme? What's up, everybody? It's the Ginger Yeti, and I'm checking in from home. Now, before I left for tour with Whitechapel, way back in September, I received this awesome package from Finland. It was sent to me by the Dog and Ensiferum, and it contained that Ensiferum beer that I did a review on. And if you haven't seen that video, please go check that out. It's a really nice beer. It was awesome having that sent to me. I really appreciate them doing that for me. But along with that beer, the Dog threw in some other beers. One of the beers he gave me was this right here. I'm going to mispronounce this because it's all Finnish, but the Mufloni CCC IPA. And that's really cool of them. I really appreciate that. It's from Beer Hunters Brewing Company or Beer Hunters Brewery. There's a picture of the can there. And this brewery is out of Pori, Finland. Sorry about that. Pori, Finland. Finley's always on my head because that's where Beer Day with TK is from. Pori, Finland. And if you're not familiar where that is, it's northwest of Helsinki on the west coast of Finland on the Bothnian Sea. Hopefully I pronounced all that correctly. Now, when I was looking at this can, on the back here, it's got some information, but it's all in Finnish and possibly Swedish. I don't know. It does say things I can figure out are 5.5% alcohol, it's 440 milliliters. It says it's an India Pale Ale. The humalat, which I think that's how you say it, would be hops, is Citra, Chinook, and Cascade. It's a 40 IBU, 20 EBC, and 12.8 degrees Plato. Now, 20 EBC. You may have heard me talk about EBC once or twice before, either in one of my videos or one of the Beer Day with TK videos. But that is another system of color measurement. And it's used on a lot of European beers, whereas most American beers we use the SRM. And there is a conversion. If you want to figure out the EBC or the SRM, it's 1.97 times the SRM to equal the EBC. So this says it's a 20 EBC. So that would roughly be a 10 on the SRM chart. But that doesn't make sense to me because when you look at the EBC chart, it says a 20 is a deep amber. And if you divide 20 by 2, it's 10, and 10 over here is not a deep amber at all. So we'll see when we pour this beer out. Now, I did do a little Google Translate on the back of this can because I don't read Finnish. I have no idea what some of this says. I mean, maybe I could have figured it out, but I did Google Translate. And you know, Google Translate is pretty funny sometimes. So even though this says, in English, India Pale Ale on the back of the can, Google Translate says it translates to India Burnt Butt. Where they got that, I don't know. It did get that the hops and all that right. Then it says here, on this, I'm not even trying to pronounce it, but I guess it translates to the description. It says reddish caramel-like grapefruit, tarsty. I don't know. Don't know what Google was thinking there, what that was supposed to be, and fresh fruit. Then for the ingredients, which I kind of knew that's what that said there, it's water, barley malt, oats, hops, and yeast. So that's pretty cool. And then the bottom of the can here, this is all in Finnish once again, but the English actually translated fairly well. Unfiltered and unpasteurized beer, keep beer cold, best before. And there's a best before date, which says 09/01/25. Since it's from Finland, I'm guessing that means January 9th of 2025. And it also says an era, which might be the batch number, and this says number 888. So that's pretty cool, pretty interesting. It's still ridiculous that for some reason Google Translate translated India Pale Ale, which is English, into India Burnt Butt. But who knows? I mean, Google's not perfect. None of us are, right? Probably talked enough. Let's get into the beer. On Untapped, gets a 3.41 with 3.9 thousand check-ins. On Beer Advocate, I couldn't find anything. And as I stated in my unboxing video, these beers spent a lot of time in transit. I believe, if I remember correctly, it took 13 days from the time that the dog gave it to the postal carrier to the time it landed at my house. Who knows what kind of conditions they were kept in. It was end of August, beginning of September when that happened. So these beers might not be in their best condition, might not be in their prime, but we're going to try them anyways. As you see, I totally knobhead poured that beer, but it was starting to come out of the top of the can when I popped it. So I pour a little bit more in there. That is a thick head. See if I can get a nose on it. It's very grainy. Of course, I stuck my nose right in it. This is kind of a very grainy forward. Kind of grain forward, almost like maybe a little bit of vanilla, which not what I would have expected at all. But I am trying to sniff through this head here, the giant head. In the can, I'm getting a little bit of that graininess as well, and a little bit of hoppy notes on there. So maybe it's just this head that's smelling more grainy and vanilla. Out of the can, I do get a little bit of a generic hop kind of scent. And I wish this beer had been shipped better. Not shipped better, but had been shipped quicker. I wish they would have got it to me quicker. I know he did the best he could to get it to me, but sometimes these shipping companies just do what they want to do. And it took a nice little journey around Europe to get to the U.S. Looking at that color, I don't know if I'd call that a deep amber. Now, like I said, the EBC says it's a 20. And I didn't see a color chart for the EBC when I was looking into it, but the EBC chart did say that 20 is a deep amber. I would not call that a deep amber. That's more wrong of an orangish color, and I would think that sits about at the 10 on the SRM chart, which is more of an orangey color to me than a deep amber. But maybe if I saw the colors on the EBC chart, I would agree more to that. It's not quite see-through. I mean, at the bottom here, I can kind of see through it a little bit. A lot of carbonation in there, obviously from the head. Giant hand's worth of off-white, like almost nicotine-stained white, and it's just thick, creamy head. And that's, I mean, as I've been talking, that's just not dissipating at all. I mean, around the sides of the glass, you can probably see it. Around the sides, it's turning into that like soap suddy kind of head. But the top of this is just like a thick, creamy-looking head. Well, I've talked long enough. Time to take a drink. Thanks again, Dog, for throwing this in there. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to trying it. Cheers, everybody. Medium-bodied. See if I can get some more of this in here without blowing up the head and overflowing everything. Medium body. And it's got a nice malty flavor to it with some hop backbone. Now, I don't think I'd call this an IPA. Maybe it's more along the lines of a West Coast IPA. I don't know that I'd call it straight up an IPA. But this is good beer. This is a good beer. Now, if it had been super fresh and didn't spend 13 days in some sort of shipping catastrophe, maybe the hops would come out more. I would put this more along the lines of a pale ale with a nice malt kick to it. But this is a really nice beer. I don't know if it's supposed to taste like this. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's supposed to be more hoppy. Do get a little bit of that hop bitterness lingering in the background, slightly drying. But this is a nice beer overall. I give this a horns up. I would like to try it fresh to see how different it is. Because who knows how all that handling, what it did to the beer. And it's been sitting in my fridge for a couple months now because it arrived right before I left for tour. Overall, it's a nice, tasty beer. I really enjoy that. The nice maltiness to it. Do get some nice, like a hop backbone in there. It's just kind of backwards sometimes, because a lot of times these IPAs, it's like hop forward and you get a little bit of a malt backbone in the back end. But this is a good beer overall. Really enjoy it. Thank you very much for sending this to me. Really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching my channel. Thank you all to all my subscribers. As always, embrace the adventure.